And I should have said, my name's Sue Macdonald and I'm chairing this evening. I always forget that bit. And this is our Midwifery Hour that we welcome you to. Okay. And just to say that this has been brought to you by the Maternity and Midwifery Forum. And the aim of the session is really to provide information and support to midwives, student midwives, and all of those who are and there are many who are supporting women, babies and families at the moment. And this Maternity and Midwifery Hour and the podcast, which will also be available on iTunes, Spotify and all podcast players, is also supported by Matflix, which is video streaming from maternity experts. And that's a resource that I'm sure a lot of viewers will know about, because this is the way of having your CPD needs made easy. So if you need to get your revalidation done or have a student project to complete, Matflix is a one-stop shop for you and really fantastic resource. Okay, and I'm just going to pop out a little bit of news. Some of this is a little bit hot off the press. We have this new OBS COVID resource, which has come out today. And this is a way of really recording. What you have to do is record if you have been in contact with someone with COVID, a mum with COVID, and then you put in your details, and then you keep a track of your symptoms. And it's a way of mapping what's happening with you and with the mother. You do have to just register yourself. And this is an opportunity for me to say that after this streaming, we have a whole list of resources, and this is attached to that. It's right at the bottom because it's very new. So you can have a look at that after the presentation. There's also several guidelines from the Royal College of Midwives on antenatal care, which are very relevant to us at the moment, and those have just come out this week. And also something a bit creative for our creative midwives and students and viewers is the Midwife Patchwork 2020. And so this is a real creative thing for us to think about celebrating this year, which is the year of the nurse and the year of the midwife. And again, this is on our list of resources, so you can access this after the presentation. I think it's important that we do remember that we started this year on a real high as the year of the nurse and midwife, and it was a very happy time. And it's kind of, sometimes it's difficult to remember that, except when I've just heard Sarah and Abby just talking about their joyful moments this evening. It's kind of recapturing the bit that we have as midwives, and that feels very nice indeed, because it makes you feel, even though things are very difficult, there's some good stuff going on. So those tweeters amongst you, our Twitter tag is the Midwifery Hour, and our Twitter account is Midwifery Forum. And I'd like to also kind of spend a few moments just thinking about the people who are within the service, and also supporting the service and supporting all of us in the whole society at the moment, all the bin men, the Royal Mail, cleaners, emergency services, teachers, carers, and all the key workers, as well as our wonderful, wonderful NHS. We obviously have a very special part in our hearts for the NHS, but there's an awful lot of us there to support. And we do remember the Thursday clapping activity for all of us, which is a small way of all of us thanking all of us, which has been very positive. It's been, though it's a very difficult time, what's struck me, and I suppose is my special moment, is the positiveness that the public have towards midwives, which they always have had, but it's even more explicit, and also to people in the NHS, and I hope that's something that we can retain. I think what's very sad, and again I'd like to record this, we've lost a lot of people in the health service, and that's really very difficult for many people. Many people will know someone and will have lost someone they know or they've been in contact with. We were talking a little bit earlier, Sarah and Abby and I, about midwifery and the world of midwifery being very small. So it makes it more hard when you lose someone. And I'd like to just place on comment now. Our losses over the last couple of weeks have been 2 midwives and a maternity care support worker at the moment. And that's midwife Lindsay Coventry, who worked at Harlow, and midwife Linda Clark, who worked at the Royal Albert Edward Infirmary, and then Joan Snickersgill, who's an MCA at St James. And I've put them kind of one each corner and one in the centre. The one in the centre was Lindsay Coventry. And I think we have to maybe spend some time thinking about the people we have lost and valuing what we've lost from them. There's been a lot in the health service. A lot of things have been closed down, and the world has almost feels as though it's been closed down to a certain extent. I know elective surgery has been slowed down and everything. In maternity, it's kind of different. And we have the additional stress, we have the anxiety, we have some staff who are sick, and some staff who are shielding their family. And we also obviously have staffing issues, which I'm sure Sarah and Abby are going to talk about. And there has been a need to amend the services to make sure women feel they're safe, and also midwives feel safe at providing that care. Because most importantly, maternity services can't be cancelled, they can't be delayed. Antenatal and postnatal care still needs to be delivered. Babies still are born, and mothers and families still need support. And we need to be there to provide that support. So I think at that point, it's quite a good time to move on to really look at some of the issues around the maternity services. And so tonight we're going to be looking at what's happening in the maternity services and the impact of COVID-19 and what innovations heads of service are using to support women and babies and families, and also how the quality of care and all the things that we've worked really hard for, like continuity of care and home birth, how they're being looked after at the moment. And I think some viewers are going to find this very interesting.
Thanks for watching this video from the Maternity and Midwifery Forum. For more expert opinion and analysis, hit the button below to subscribe.